So once again, I have to start this episode by warning everyone that there's been an attack in Las Vegas. I have to be very cautious about the words I use because YouTube's demonetization policies. I'm fairly torn up over it. It's very sad to see this stuff. My father-in-law was actually living in Vegas, and it's very scary to see this stuff. He enjoys music, and this is where this happened. Apparently, 50 people were killed in this attack, and over 400 have been taken to the hospital. Now, you might be asking yourself, why am I beginning a What You Missed story with this? This isn't what I do, and that's true. And why I want to start things off by saying this is because during these horrible times, during these terrible times, where the world is on fire and you just want to shut yourself away and play a game or something and keep your mind off of it. People need programs like my show here to get their mind off of that stuff. You can't sit there and focus on the horrible things that happen in the world every single second of your life. So people, YouTubers out there, don't stop doing what you're doing because horrible things happen. Let's keep putting on a good show and help people through these issues, because I'm sure there's some people in Las Vegas that watch my show. So I hope you find this at least a comfort that I will continue doing my What You Missed news even when crazy stuff's happening around the world. So I want to jump into the first story. I'm going to try and collect myself here. PlayerUnknown'S Battlegrounds dev is in talks with Sony about a PS4 version. So as you know, Microsoft was really touting PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds being on the Xbox One, coming to the Windows 10 store, whatever, you get on Steam and stuff like that. But they were really promoting this game, and they were really excited about it. And it's not really a surprise that PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds would end up coming to the PlayStation 4 because, they have ridiculous numbers, man. They're doing really good. They toppled Dota 2 several times on Steam and is one of the most played games. So, of course, Sony is going to try and court Bluehole, which is actually going to be turning into Pub Corp, as I reported on before, and they are going to be talking about the following PC, Xbox releases in the PlayStation version, of course, so that's what they want to be happening. And they are, quote, in talks with Sony. So this is a quote, this isn't just some, speculation and stuff like that. Talks don't mean anything permanent, but they did highlight a point that they were in talks with all major console companies. All. So I wouldn't necessarily count like iPhones, Apple products, anything like that, like Android. I wouldn't count them, but I would say that if you say all companies, that means the Nintendo Switch also. There is one big caveat with that though. Because of how unoptimized the PC version is, I would be surprised if it would run very well on the Nintendo Switch. You could imagine 720p at low settings is what you get, but in a game like PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, that might not be an issue. Continuing on, the SNES Classic has sold out in minutes, quote-unquote, in minutes, at Gamestops. Now, here's the thing. You might be thinking to yourself, wow, it's doing really good, and you're not surprised about that. But once again, I've had reports from several people, and personally, that Gamestops in major cities are not receiving a lot of these units. Again, when I was in Ashland, the NES Classic, they only gave 6 to the GameStop at an Ashland city in Ohio. That was a major city of 20,000 people, and only 6 went over there. Okay, so Haydox over on Twitter had tweeted out talking about his city only had one at his GameStop. So you could imagine if you have a city that has 10,000 or more people and you're only going to send out one SNES Classic. I mean, what are you doing? And really, Nintendo, yeah, you're making it look really good, you're selling out of stuff, but for Christ's sakes, cut us a break here, man. So the GameStop's senior vice president of merchandising, Bob Puzon, I mean, I've never heard of this guy, but I guess he's got a position. He was talking about how they've done it again and it's a big feat, but honestly, I just think it's because Nintendo don't send out enough units. Anyways, they're going to continue to support this product into 2018. Hopefully 2020, man. Just let it keep coming out. Let it keep coming out until people find it. I absolutely love the SNES, which transcends and transfers over into our next store. We're transcending into the developers actually talking about this. So we've ascended and transcended into a whole different realm here. So no more just economics and merchandising. We're talking about Nintendo devs reminiscing about making the leap to the SNES. So this is a big story because in a series of interviews, you get to understand where these developers were coming from. And in this story, this is a really good read. You should read it. People were talking about how amazing the Mode 7 graphics were, but it's the smallest things like parallax scrolling, multiple background layers, being able to have a character, a sprite set on the screen, go in front or behind something. And like that was absolutely amazing to them at the time, the technology there, which was really friggin' cool, man, to them. So I think that's absolutely amazing to read these interviews and what they thought about the Super Nintendo at the time, talking about it wasn't just more pixels or better colors, but it made them have more depth, man, like more visual plates, more palettes, more dynamic resolution and details, and it really made these games pop. And they were talking about the sound as well, even. Like, when you think about the NES to Super NES, you obviously think about the visual graphics and how different the games can be, but also, on top of that, you also have to understand that you can have 8 sound channels at once, which is absolutely astonishing, and it leads to greater depth in the sound of the game that you're playing, so you can hear and feel immersed in the world like in Super Metroid. So it's really great to see this stuff come out, these interviews, and I would encourage you to read through them if you are a gamer indeed. But that also comes with another story that's going. I'm just chaining these stories together, man. A video game writer explains how technology can make stories better or worse. In this interview, I read through it, and I didn't quite understand what they were saying. What I took away from this is that they were saying that previously, in previous generations, at different iterations and times, when a company had an engine and they worked, this individual, this writer, worked with these top tier guys, these top tier developers, they had this engine and they could go from having an idea Monday to getting a working prototype and model Wednesday to having something working properly on the engine and being viable and developable on Friday. And then he said it went from that, where you could have an idea, a story, everything working good by the end of the week, to a 4 to 6 month development period because of how sluggish the newer engines and newer technologies coming out, because people have to adapt, work faster. This isn't 16-bit, 32-bit era, so it's very difficult. And then he literally said that you have to take a turd of an idea. I don't know if I'm quoting him perfectly there, but I do recall reading that, and it's just not a good idea, and you have to run with it and make it work. And that's just how it goes in the industry here. He didn't necessarily call out anyone, but he did cite Naughty Dog, and he said that they were in a complete class of their own, and they have very talented people in the industry. So it's very comfortable there with their tools, speed iteration, and they know the tech inside and out. He was just making an example there. So there you go. You can read over the article. It's an interesting read, man, and it's difficult to see what this guy is talking about, but it's very obvious to see that previous engines and people who had more time with more simplistic engines can get things done quicker, faster, and better, and have better stories with those games because of that reason. Sony has announced an updated PlayStation VR headset. This just takes basically the concept of the original Sony headset that's out right now and changes some things to make it better, some HDR pass-through, something to do with the headphones and how you don't have to have so many cables anymore. You can check the details about this story. I'm not going to go over them. It's just frequently answered questions, and they have a chart showing the new versus the old setup. It still looks convoluted and crazy, so for me personally, I can't recommend getting one. I'm not going to buy one still. I'm going to wait because this new headset is going to cost about $400 American, so that's quite a lot of money, and I'm not really willing to spend that money yet on something that I don't think is going to take off, and it's just going to be a niche. If I ever get a virtual reality headset, it will be for a monitor and probably not going to be used for games, if I'm being honest. So if you guys didn't know, Cuphead released. I'm pretty sure everyone knows that because it's one of the best games. It's a challenging game, very difficult. A lot of people are comparing it to Dark Souls, which irks a lot of people because, once again, can we not compare everything to Dark Souls? But what they're saying, though, instead is that it's not the game that's the most challenging part, but rather the fact that you can't even start the game or install the game to begin with. There were a lot of problems with the Xbox version installing. There were a lot of workarounds, a lot of patches that had to come out, but then when they got that fixed, it turns out that the Windows version of the game also is having really big problems and really big issues, and also that people can't save their progress. So if you're interested in buying Cuphead, you might want to be careful, and you might want to look at this story and look up some links here if you are going to buy it, despite the problems that there are, because you might end up having to use a workaround on your Windows machine and or Xbox One. It would suck to get through the game and not be able to save it. Maybe you were playing halfway through, you got a knock at the door, you had to be gone for 10-20 minutes, pick up your kid, I don't know. Number of things that you might have to do, and then to come back and just have it all erased is really disheartening. And finally, I want to end on a story that might lighten the mood a bit here. The Splatoon toilet paper joke becomes a Splatfest reality. Yeah, this is actually a real thing. So the next Splatfest is going to be front-rolled toilet paper versus back-rolled. Like, there's so many different other things that you could argue and contest and use for the Splatfest. How and why is this really a thing? Anyways, it is. It's silly to see. At the end of the day, I guess it's lighthearted, funny, humorous, but I don't even know if children even argue about this stuff, so it's kind of like, really, Nintendo? Like, what were you thinking here? Anyways, let me know your thoughts and opinions about this in the comment section below. I'll leave you a link to all of these stories in the description as always. I've been your host, Protomario, and I'm signing out. Please make sure to like and share this video if you liked it. If you disliked it, let me know. A constructive, critical comment that would help me improve the way things are going. Do I need to get a green screen? Do I really? I really don't want to do that. Do I need to get some background posters, some images, some art? I don't know. Better lighting. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I've been your host, Protomario, and I'm signing out again. As always, good gaming, God bless, and thank you for watching.